It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Hello and welcome to Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mason Schmidt, here with my best bud, Corey Knudsen.
Wolves back.
Wolves back, yeah. Wolves in 5, maybe. Wolves in 6.
UFC, KFC, JFC, Wolves in 5.
Wolves in 5. Thanks for sitting down with us as we get ready to crack some cold ones and talk about movies. Today we'll be discussing what films we've seen lately, which we haven't watched a lot actually this past week. It's been very busy for both of us. And then we'll talk as well on some new releases that are on the horizon and provide some updates on some physical media releases and notable developments in the world of movies. But first, Corey, how have you been? Big week. Secondly, what are we drinking today?
Big week for us. Going to start out with what we're drinking. We got Neon Jungle, which is a hazy IPA made by Insight Brewing out of Minneapolis. You actually introduced me to this one a couple weeks ago. This shit's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Tastes great. Very good IPA. But yeah, it has been a busy week. We've both of our birthdays are this week.
Yeah.
Mason's is May 8th. Mine's May 9th. So he's got
a day on you.
You got you were telling me, I think on your birthday, like that day of knowledge you have on me.
You'll never get that back. You'll never catch up to me.
The knowledge that you have on me, you were really saying.
The shit that I got in that first day of being, you will never fucking... You can't fathom what I know. Yeah, that's the one thing I have to hold over you, because like we have a lot of similarities and just like how we've grown up, and we've like every time we moved when we grew up, we moved closer to each other. Even if we moved to like different towns, we would move at the same time. So we just have a lot of like similarities, and then the fact that we're a day apart in age is also crazy.
Worked at two of the same places like growing up. Too,
yeah,
so.
Not planning on it, just kind of ended up there at the same time. It's like, oh damn, shit.
Yeah. So happy birthday to you.
Yeah, happy birthday.
No better way to celebrate than this.
We're both fucking 25 now, quarter of a century.
We're not in our early 20s anymore.
No, midlife crisis starts now.
20s. But we did get to enjoy a little beer league softball on Thursday night, which is great.
Got fucking bent over by two beatable teams.
We lost the first game 15-0, lost the second game 18-3. I'm still sore, not gonna lie.
No,
I haven't
my shoulder
ran. Yeah, I dislocated my shoulder playing last year, and then going back, I thought it had kind of healed up, and then it was like, is this gonna pop out again?
We saw you running to second base, and you got on base, and then we saw you just like wringing your shoulder out, just like rotating the arm, and we're like, is he fucking hurt right now? Like, what happened? Is it out of the socket again?
It didn't pop out, so that you know, that's a win. That's a win, even though we didn't win.
Yeah, my mom's like, because Mother's Day is now this weekend. We're recording this Saturday night, May 11th. So Saturday morning, May 11th. It's Mother's Day technically now, but it's the midnight, early morning of Mother's Day. But I remember when making plans with my mom, because we always just kind of lump Mother's Day with like my birthday celebration, which I kind of really like. But she put it in our family group chat, like, hey, so Sunday, everyone come over to my house. We'll do a little Mother's Day get together, and then also Beer League Softball actually starts up on Mason's birthday, so all of my family was invited. When we are on defense in Beer League Softball, I am like mandatory the catcher, because I am so unskilled, so unathletic, very uncoordinated. So I have this whole fucking fan section of my entire family watching me catch, which I'm not mad that I'm the catcher. I know my limits. I suck at sports. But they're all sitting there behind the fucking fence, and I can hear their just like mundane bullshit conversation of them talking to each other. Like, wow, Mason, like, can't even fucking throw the ball back to the pitcher. I'm like, all right, I don't need you guys grilling me right now.
It is great. I love your family, and it's always great seeing your little nieces and nephews.
They're all running around.
Your little nephew, I'm always like, "What's up, man? How you doing?" And he's just, telling me about what new little pendants he has on his Crocs.
Yep,
which is sweet. And then one of your nieces just had a thing of McDonald's fries, dropped it in the dirt, scooped it up with grass, and then like a sticker in there, proceeded to eat one of the fries. I'm like, you know what? That's what being a kid is all about.
They're gonna be immune to everything.
Yeah. So yeah, very fun week, very busy. So we didn't watch a ton of stuff, but we'll have some fun little Mother's Day themed things in here as we go along the way.
Yeah, one of the new releases that actually was going wide in theaters this past week was Clown in a Cornfield, which I know we touched on last week. It was of the newer releases, kind of excluding Friendship, just because that was more of a limited release. Clown in a Cornfield was the one I was most excited to go see. It's directed by Eli Craig, which he hasn't really done much since Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, but he's the director of Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, which is such a fun horror comedy that I love. This film stars Katie Douglas and Aaron Abrams. It's pretty like stereotypical slasher, formulaic kind of bullshit, but if that works for you, like it works for me, you'll probably have a really good time with this movie. It's about a fading Midwestern town in which Friendo the Clown is kind of this town's mascot. This town was built around this corn syrup factory, and the marketing push, or like the main seller of this corn syrup, was this mascot Friendo. And so this town has kind of taken on the Friendo the Clown persona. This is our mascot for the town. So he's this symbol of like this bygone success, because now this fucking corn syrup factory has since burned down, and now everyone in this town is just miserable. The teachers are mean. It's like in a Stephen King world, or almost like in It, where all the adults are just a little off. Like, they're a little weird, and it's like, what do you guys know that we don't? Like, what's going on
State
here?
of Maine.
Yeah.
That's where every story's set.
The
for
entire
Stephen
state
King.
of Maine for Stephen King.
It's like those weird facts.
But and this, like I said, it has a lot of the tropes of slasher films. It's this family, this daughter and father moving to a new small town, and they're trying to, like, she's the new girl at school, making friends. Oh, now there's also these killings that are happening, and she's getting involved with, in quotations, the wrong group of friends. And I don't know, it's a lot of the formulaic stuff, but it's not a twist. It's more of like a reveal that you wouldn't really expect from a slasher movie. It kind of came out of left field and surprised me, which to say, hey, this movie's a formulaic slasher movie, but then, whoa, I actually don't know where it's going with some of the stuff that they're showing me. It was really exciting. There's like at roughly the midpoint of this movie, which it's like an hour and a half, maybe hour 40 at most, a small reveal, which I'm like, oh shit, I don't know where this is going. This is going off the rails. I don't know what the fuck this means. But it kept me on my toes, and there's some good bits of suspense, good tension throughout, some really decent like characterization, which I wasn't anticipating, because a lot of slasher movies, you get introduced to the characters, and you're like, I fucking hate all of you except for the lead, and I can't wait to watch you all die in wild deaths. Which you do get some like pretty cool and inventive deaths, especially there's one with a bench press and a saw that I really liked. Really, anytime someone works out in a horror movie, they're probably gonna die. It's almost like if you're gonna have sex or if you're black, you're gonna get killed. Which there's also a good line. One of the friends is black, and they're all like running in this cornfield, and they're like, wait a minute, like this is like some slasher bullshit, which like, the black girl's like, fuck, I'm next, guys. And I was just like, all right, this is funny. And it's kind of tongue-in-cheek at times, but it's a really fun slasher movie. It's similar to like Eli Roth Thanksgiving, that I'm a big fan of. It's not necessarily, I don't like it as much as that movie, but it has like that tongue-in-cheek, like we're aware that we're a slasher movie, but it does some inventive things with it. It didn't like blow me away. Nothing really caught me off guard except for kind of that midpoint somewhat reveal and some decent depth to the characters that I wasn't really expecting going into it. But overall, I really enjoyed this movie. Corey, I know you haven't seen it. I would recommend it for you to go check it out. I know it's going to go on Shudder sometime in the near future. I don't know how long its theatrical run's going to be, but if you have time, go check it out in theaters. It's worth it.
Yeah, I've actually heard some pretty positive things about it, so I'm curious. By the way, if you can hear us better this episode, it's because we turned our air conditioning off. Last episode, we had a loyal viewer say, hey, that was kind of distracting. So I was like, you know what? Fine. We'll just sweat then. We'll just sweat for our two people that listen.
Which, honestly, if it was like 60 degrees in here, I'm still going to sweat. Like,
yeah.
Sitting in like these leather bar stools that we have.
My thighs are sticky.
Yeah, you peel off of these at the end of recording. It sucks.
It's crazy. So I guess we hear your feedback sometimes. We'll take it into account.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But this week I only watched one movie actually, and that was, which I think it's still your favorite movie.
Still my
of the year,
favorite movie of 2025.
which is Black Bag. Steven Soderbergh's other movie from this year, after Presents came out in January, and we were both kind of lukewarm on that one.
As Black Bag's at the top of my list for 2025, Presents is like one of the last, one of like the bottom three.
I should have flipped which Soderbergh movie I saw in theaters,
Yeah.
but finally got around to watching it. It's on Peacock now, so if you're interested, you can check it out. And it stars Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett. They're a married couple who are also two legendary spies, and they face kind of a test whether to be loyal to their marriage or to their country. And it's got a really good supporting cast in there too. Regé-Jean Page, Naomi Harris, Tom Burke, Marissa Abella, Gustav Skarsgård, which there's just a new Skarsgård every fucking week.
Yeah, and they're all good.
They're all really good, yeah. I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's a super solid spy flick. It's like an hour and a half, so it's very well paced. It goes by quickly. And really the intrigue of it is just that relationship between Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett, and you see this agency that they work for in the UK, and Michael Fassbender is suspicious of if his wife is involved with some shady people, and then other people in the agency kind of all have information. So it's not an action movie, which I think you talked about. It's not a spy action thriller. It's just a spy espionage thriller. And the movie is bookended by 2 really good dinner scenes, which I just very much enjoyed. And the camera work throughout those scenes is really great as well. As you see, at the beginning, just Michael Fassbender, like how baller of a spy he is, and just how he can get information out of people and be like, nope, I know this about you just by looking at you or whatever. And then that comes into the final dinner scene as well, where he's putting all the pieces together and kind of, explaining what's been going on in the whole movie. But I think it's really solid. I enjoy this movie a lot. It is, let's see, I think it's my number 4 on the year.
Okay, sweet.
I think for me, just hearing all your thoughts about it, I was really excited to watch it, and I enjoyed it. But it wasn't a movie where I don't think it was a movie designed to be like, holy fuck, this is insane. It's like a movie where I'm like, yeah, that's really good. That's solid. It's like a surprising movie that it's kind of been under the radar, didn't do crazy at the box office at all. But certainly a good spy thriller that I think kind of taps into an old school genre that we don't see as much. So very happy that I finally got around to checking it out.
Yeah. I was kind of worried because it's been my number 1 since I've seen it. And I worried that I overhyped it maybe for you. But I'm happy that you saw it. Happy that it's still sat well with you and that it's high in your ranking for 2025. It's just so sleek. And it feels like I know it's Steven Soderbergh that made this, but it feels Fincher-esque. Like David Fincher made this at points, just based on like the lighting of it, the color palette, everything is so sleek, and it's just the intrigue is really good, but also it's just so sexy and hot as fuck. And some of the actresses in this movie, I was like, God damn, I've never seen you, but oh my god, I'm gonna do a couple Google searches after this movie.
That's crazy work.
I
wanted to show just one other quick thing. Naomi Harris plays like a shrink at this spy agency, which is really interesting. That's kind of an idea that every spy has to go in and like they're like mandated to go in and talk about stuff,
debrief shit,
and they're I don't want to do this shit. So it's like an interesting like little behind the scenes thing. But also Michael Fassbender is one of the best actors working right now.
Finally a good movie for him to be in too, because I feel like he's in Assassin's Creed or he's in Snowman where he plays Harry Hole.
Crazy,
wild.
Yeah.
That's the name for this guy.
He's so talented and he needs an Oscar. Like, dude is awesome, and I hope he gets it someday because this movie was great, and I love all of his work. Yeah, well, most of it, but
most of it. Yeah,
this is him and stuff is great.
Yeah, he's never bad.
No,
he's usually the best part of whatever he's in, whether it's good or bad. But
put him in Avengers: Secret Wars.
Yeah, fucking might as well with everyone else that's been cast in Doomsday. That's likely going to carry over. That cast is going to be. I can't imagine how big Secret Wars is going to be in comparison. How long is
that fucking Avengers video going to be?
Fucking 9 hours. It's going to go into 2 days. It's going to be a full overnight thing.
Yeah.
And they'll shorten the window between each fucking chair placement, which was just the dumbest fucking thing. But Black Bag is a great cat and mouse thriller. It's really dependent on dialogue. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. Moving into, like Corey said, we didn't see a lot of newer stuff this week. We both saw kind of one new release each. But I randomly just threw on the Marvels this week, kind of coming off of the high of the Thunderbolts. High of Thunderbolts.
Do you mean the new Avengers?
Oh, shit, yeah. Now, the new Avengers, which Marvel was like, yeah, we're just going to throw that out right away. Like, the weekend after the first weekend of release, we're going to change it to New Avengers. I'm like, you guys could have probably held on to that a little bit longer.
A week, maybe.
At least, even if it's bleeding out through people seeing the movie and giving their thoughts on it, like, you could just hold on to it for a little bit of the people that didn't know about it, because you really didn't give a lot of people a chance to go see this. But after riding that high, I was like, you know what? There's not a lot of Marvel movies that I hate. There's probably there's 2 that are utter dog shit to me, which is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and Thor: Love and Thunder. Those movies are ass. But with kind of like the Phase 4, Phase 5 post-Avengers Endgame, there's been a lot of movies that people have been kind of lukewarm on. One of those being the Marvels, which lukewarm is probably generous. I feel like I hear a lot of more people really disliking this movie. Whereas I really thoroughly enjoy this movie. I don't have a lot of big negatives that are really different from the negatives that carry over from a lot of the other Marvel movies. Darwin, the villain of this movie, is kind of like one note, kind of right off, forgettable. Like I remember bringing it up to you after seeing Thunderbolts. I'm like, I kind of want to rewatch the Marvels, and you're like, name the villain, and I was like, oh, no, what is her name? I know it's Tom Hiddleston's wife, but yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. Getting to see Brie Larson, Iman Vellani in an MCU movie. I love Ms. Marvel, so being able to see her character carry through and seeing her dynamic with her family. And also, it's so nice to see Samuel Jackson in a Marvel movie, which I feel like since Avengers Age of Ultron, it's very like sparse when we actually get to see Nick Fury in a Marvel project. But he's so funny in this movie. There are just so many good moments, like they're falling to space in this like aircraft, and it's just him, all these Flurkins, and Iman Vellani or Kamala Khan's family in the aircraft with him as they're plummeting to Earth. And Kamala Khan's brother, I forget his name, but he's praying, and Nick Fury's like, "You praying? Don't stop. We fucking need it. Like, keep going." I was like, it's just funny, and this is a very like cartoony Marvel movie, and I really enjoyed that. And I never know how to say her name. Is it Teyonah Parris? Mm-hmm. Phenomenal. I love her so much as Monica Rambeau. One of my favorite new characters that's come from like the Disney Plus Marvel shows. I can't wait to see kind of where they go with her, if they intertwine her into like, oh, where did she end up at the end of this movie? How does that carry into Doomsday Secret Wars? Where is she at? I really like this movie. It was a good rewatch. My wife had never seen this movie, and she had a very fun time. She laughed a lot with the movie, sometimes at the movie when the Flurkin are just eating everyone on the aircraft because they're like, this is the best way we can get everyone off of this about to blow up ship, is just to have all these cats eat people and then just transport them that way. But weird ideas, an inventive, fun, kind of wild ride. I really enjoy this movie. I think it gets too much hate, but and I'm saying all that while I'd still admit that this is probably in like my low 20 ranking of the MCU. Like, it's not like high up on my list, but it's still like a really good time.
Yeah, I think what helps this one is that it's just really fun. Mm-hmm. Like you mentioned, it's very watchable. Yeah, in a weird way, like we talked last week about the MCU feeling a bit more like it has momentum now, like it's tying things together. This movie actually does a lot of that, of bringing in Kamala Khan from Ms. Marvel, bringing in Teyonah Parris from WandaVision, and then the post-credit scene too is like one of the bigger ones of like Phase 5 and 6.
One of the few that like has potential repercussions yet to be seen yet, but finally like something that we could build to. It's like Thunderbolts, we got one of those too. It's like, oh, finally.
It's like Teyonah Parris is in the X-Men universe, maybe, like with Beast there, and her mom. I forget. Which...
I don't know what Marvel character that is. I've Googled it a couple of times, and I think Star is in the name.
Yeah, at the time I knew. But like again, like this, even though this movie wasn't that well received, I feel like this one did have a little bit of like tying the shows, the movies, and like a little bit of direction. So
I will say one of the negatives of a lot of these, like the multiverse saga, like you get it in No Way Home, you get it in this, where like and a little bit in Loki and WandaVision, where they like introduce things that fracture the timeline, but then they're repaired, and like No Way Home does that, where you can see all the Spider-Man villains up in the sky around the Statue of Liberty, like almost bleeding into this timeline or this stream of plot. And then we have in this movie, there's a fracture in time space and like all that shit, and then Monica Rambeau gets stuck on the other side as she repairs it and like seals it off. But it's like every one of these movies is so like geared towards, you know what, we need to acknowledge that we were breaking the space-time continuum, but we're not going to acknowledge if that shifts or changes anything like down on Earth or like is going to have long-lasting effects. It's like, damn, you guys really, we need one cohesive, like, all right, the multiverse saga, what's going to be like the fundamental thing that starts this off, and how are we going to wrap it up? It's like we have Kang going on, we have No Way Home and the 3 Spider-Man, and now we have Ms. Marvel the Marvel's acknowledging it too. But I love this movie. I think it's a fun watch. It's a little forgettable. It's kind of almost like a bottle episode. Like, it doesn't have like huge repercussions, but we can see potentially where Monica Rambeau goes in future projects. I will say one of the things that I do absolutely hate about this movie is the costume for Ms. Marvel. In the show, I thought the final costume for Ms. Marvel for Iman Vellani's character, phenomenal. I was like, that's perfect. I love the way it looks. It has like a good texture to it where I'm like, this is something so unique. compared to like all the other superhero costumes that we get. And then in the Marvels, she gets just something. It looks like it's out of like a Power Rangers show. Like it looks cheap, and the colors are very like vibrant and almost just they're just cheap looking, and it doesn't fit. I feel like what her character should have. But that's just me harping about a costume that a teenage superhero wears in a Marvel movie. I don't know.
Yeah, I think like I said, I actually kind of enjoy this movie too. I think my biggest issue is, like you mentioned, Darben, and just like the whole plan of like vacuuming up water from a planet or something. From the, what is it? The Kree planet.
Hala.
Yeah.
Hala.
Yeah, and it's like essentially Spaceballs. It's like, wait, what are we doing? They're taking what? They're doing what now?
I do like how they kind of spin the Captain Marvel and like how she's seen as a villain to some people because she came in and killed like the supreme intelligence, and they're like, well, you killed what was our leader, like our god of our planet, and now we don't have the sun. Like, it's like, oh yeah, it's nice to see like the repercussions of a hero and how they in someone else's eyes might be a villain. So I think that this is a pretty refreshing movie. It's not the best, but it's a good time. Aside from the Marvels, Corey touched on this a little bit last week. I was just slow to watch episode 4 of Last of Us Season 2, but this past week I was able to sit down and watch it, and I loved it. I thought it was such a great episode. I know I've seen more and more reactions to episode 3 and episode 4 where they're like, yeah, Ellie can't carry the show. The show is not as good as it was with Joel. And I disagree. I think Ellie can carry the show. I think Bella Ramsey is phenomenal, especially in this episode. I love the introduction of Jeffrey Wright, and I don't know if you said it to me during recording of this, but you're like, you get to see Jeffrey Wright, he's cooking, there's a frying pan, and there's a penis. And I'm like, whoa, what? And then I saw it, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know what's going on here. Yeah. But I thought he was such a cool character, a great little Josh Peck at the very beginning of the episode, and I just think I'm on board. Like, I love where this is going. I am excited to see what is to come next. I'm fully in on this. I don't think that quality-wise that it's dipped at all, and I think Bella Ramsey as Ellie can definitely carry this show, especially with Dina. I think that their dynamic works super well, and you get the drama there of Dina being like, I'm pregnant, and then Ellie being like, I'm going to be a dad. It's like, well, okay. I guess you can just claim this kid is yours
you're
now.
not.
Like, okay, that's Jesse's kid.
You didn't do shit.
Yeah, but I like their dynamic. I like the fucking like shit hitting the fan and them going through the train in that like sewage tunnel. Oh, just I think it was so well done. I can't wait for episode 5 that we get tomorrow night.
Yeah. I also just in that kitchen scene with Jeffrey Wright, it's like I learned a little bit about like copper and like cooking and like how it heats up.
Yeah, when he was talking about that, I was like, oh, more about this.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, difference between cast iron and copper. I was like, in his great Jeffrey Wright voice too.
He's like, steel handle.
Yeah, I was like,
cool's quicker.
Yeah, like that. Fuck yeah, that makes sense.
I was like, damn, I didn't even talk about that. That's sweet.
So yeah, great episode. Can't wait to finish out the season here. In other TV news, finally, Andor.
The brunt of this episode now of us
Andor
talking.
Season 2. First 6 episodes we've been reviewing the past couple weeks. There's been 3 episodes released every week, and there's a year gap in between each of them. We got episodes 7 through 9. This is what I was waiting for. This is like, these are some of the best episodes of the show in general.
If this was a movie, this was a 2.5-hour long movie, this is the best Star Wars since Return of the Jedi for me.
This is some incredible stuff. Episode 7 is a little bit of a like setup episode, just getting into where we are after a year and getting everybody in place, kind of. Good episode still, but I was like, even after that one, I was like, okay, I think I know what's coming. I'm like, I hope it works. Episode 8 starts out, and you can just feel the difference.
Yeah.
Tony Gilroy's like, all right, this is what I've wanted to, like, this is what I've been working for this season. You get the Gorman massacre in this episode, and I know you haven't watched Rebels, but they kind of mention it in that show. And it's not like a throwaway thing, but it's a reference of, like, the Gorman massacre, and you hear it, and you're like, okay. You see it here, and it feels very true to just real life here sometimes, with a lot of protests and rallies and stuff like that. The tension just builds and builds and builds in this episode. You have Cassian there, and he's there to take out Dedra. And, sorry, spoiler alert for this, I guess if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Forgot to mention that. But he's there to take out Dedra, so that's his mission. You have the Empire basically just baiting in all the Gorman people into this town square, where there was already a tragedy where Tarkin just landed a ship on hundreds of people.
I love that. Like, that's so fucked up, and just, like, it's not throwaway within the context of the story. They reference it a couple of times, but just the fact that that's what happened, like, and like, you never think about, like, oh, just a Star Wars ship landing and coming down and just crushing people.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, like, the visual of that is terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely. So they get them all in the square. They're kind of singing these Gorman songs, like "We Are the Gore." They're chanting, and it's building. It's tension. And again, like, just even in the past, 5-6 years of real life, where we've seen a lot of protests and stuff, like, there's tension there all the time. And you see the Empire, and you see Cyril kind of
Coming unglued.
he's just like, he's been such a dope and such just like a follower, where he's just like, well, I kind of like, I'll do whatever, like, I get demoted, go live with my mom, I just like, I don't know, I have a job now, I just do what Dedra says, kind of, and my mom berates me at dinner with my wife or my girlfriend or whatever, just kind of a schmuck.
Yeah.
But this episode, he's finally like, what are we doing here? Like, what am I doing here specifically? And he's questioning Dedra about it. And you see, I love his character, so just seeing that progress. And you see the Empire, and, this protest is going on in the square. And you get the sniper up top, the Empire, and they have, like, this little, their riot shields going out. And again, like what we've talked about, the sacrifice that both the Rebellion and Empire make to further their cause, and the sniper takes out one of their own dudes to be like, oh, now it's free reign. They took out one of our guys. We can take out the protesters, even though they didn't do it. And it is so fucking heartbreaking and, like, heavy. And this is just some of the most mature Star Wars that we've ever had. And the whole battle, it's like, we've seen so much Star Wars in our life where it's like, sweet, space battles, gun battles, lightsaber. It's so much fun.
And it's fantastical, and it's distant, and it's like, it's not as grounded and as terrifying as this.
This is like, oh, I don't like watching this. I don't enjoy it. Like, you just see these, like...
This is too close to home. Like, this is too real.
Yeah, you see, like, the kind of gore resistance there that we followed a lot in 4, 5, and 6. And they're just, like, getting wiped out here. And it's all for just to get this calcite that's in the earth. Yeah. Just so they can, like, mine the planet. And it is such a powerful and effective episode. And, man, Tony Gilroy, he can write the fuck out of some stuff here.
The buildup of that platoon going out, like the platoon of young Imperial soldiers, which we've had, like, a decent amount of time to, like, see them being trained. And, like, they spent time to show us these guys. And, like, they've gone out of their way to tell them, like, oh, they're young and they're maybe not ready for something like this. Just to then use them as the cannon fodder or as the bait and just lead them out there and, like, this is how we start a conflict. We have them to either start something by misstepping or shoving or pushing or shooting someone. Otherwise, we're just going to take one of them out with an Imperial sniper and just say it was one of the protesters, and boom, we have our reason to just completely just wreck shop, wipe house, just absolutely obliterate this entire people. My favorite scene, I think, so far in this show, or at least this season, is Cyril confronting Dedra. Because Cyril is up there of this show, it's like Luthen, Cyril, and Mon Mothma that are my favorite characters in this show. Andor, I'm like... I love this chunk of episodes. I'm like, I still don't see why season 2 of Andor is called Andor. Like, this is more just rebellion. Like, Andor is, like, maybe the 5th or 6th most interesting character in his own show. But that's beside the point. But seeing Cyril, who, like you said, has been kind of just, like, a follower, kind of an aloof guy, going up and confronting Dedra and being like, choking her. What the fuck is going on here? And then Dedra, like, smiling, like, we're going to be rich. We're going to be loved within, like, the Empire. We're going to be famous. We're going to be wealthy. We're going to live together. And he's, like, she's, like, smiling through some of the shit that she's saying. And he's just, like, looking on completely distraught. And then, that entire interaction is so good. And then he leaves, and Cyril running into Andor and their scuffle. And again, spoiler alert, but the demise of Cyril when him and Andor, they're fighting, and Cyril's got the drop on Andor, and he's got a gun pointed at him, and Andor just, who are you? And Cyril just, like, pauses for a moment, and you can just, like, it's like, Cyril's mind is like, I've been chasing you, dude, for, like, 3, 5, 6 years of my life trying to hunt you down. You don't know who the fuck I am.
Yeah, it just, like, it completely disarms him.
Oh like, my God. And he just, like, he lowers the weapon.
He's just, like, and I think, again, that speaks to, like, the nature of what makes the show so good is how so many of these characters are just cogs in the machine of the rebellion or the Empire, where Cyril, like you said, he's been tracking Andor for all these years. This has been his life, and he sees him, and he's like, this is the guy that I've seen so much, and, like, briefly met him in season 1, but Andor doesn't even remember that. He's like, who are you? And then he gets wiped out, and, like, nobody knows about it. And even Cassian, for that matter, like, we know what happens to him in Rogue One. Like, he's just another cog in the machine of, like, getting the Death Star plans. But, again, with Dedra, too, a very smart thing they do is after this whole Gorman massacre happens, she's in, like, like a room doing a video call with Partagas, I think his name is,
Partagas,
one of the high-up Imperials, and her hands are just shaking.
Yeah.
And she's just, like, trying to control it, and she's, like, trying to rip her, like, collar off, because she's just, like, feeling it, and it's great that they don't just make her, like, you're an evil person. Yeah. It's like, I think she genuinely had feelings and liked Cyril, and, like, would have enjoyed having a life with him on Coruscant. So it's just great character work. Also in this episode, you get the K2SO. You get the
what are those droids called? Like,
I think they're like the KX droids or KS droids or something like that.
Horrifying.
Yeah, and again, like in Rogue One, it's like, oh, K2's fun. Like,
he's so nice,
but
so
they
polite.
they come out here and they're just wrecking shop and flinging people everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's horrifying. And you get Alan Tudyk coming back in the 9th episode, which is again just a great follow up. You get the standout scene really is Mon Mothma giving her speech in front of the Senate,
and everyone trying to shut down the broadcast, and the few number of rebel sympathizers or rebel soldiers that are, like, doing everything that they can to make sure the broadcast continues to go live. So good.
Oh, the tension is great, and even though, like, we know Mon Mothma gets out of there, it's like I need to see how this happens. Like, and her speech is incredible. It's just like the value of truth, and she just straight up calls out Emperor Palpatine. It's like, he's a monster.
Yeah.
Like, he's been doing all this. The Gorman massacre isn't like the Empire's making it seem like, oh, these Gorman rebels killed these lovely imperial people. So her speech is really powerful and great, and Cassian just being in there and getting her out of there was so great, because Bail Organa's there and he's got a team that's gonna get her out, but Luthen's talking to Mon and he's like, his team's been compromised. She's like, I don't know if I believe you right now.
Yeah.
She's like, you're scarier than other people here. And, Cassian goes in and saves her, and he's wiping out people, and she's just so shocked. And it's very interesting, too, that it's the first time those characters have met.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a Last Jedi thing where Poe and Rey met for the first time.
At
where it's
the
like,
very end of the movie,
we've seen
the
you guys
second movie.
Yeah, like, we've seen you guys do so much throughout all of this, but this is the first time you've met. And, like, we talked about it, too, when Mon's driver is coming up, and Cassian's like, what? That's your driver? What's his name? She's like, Cloris. He's like, Cloris, we got her. We saved her.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, sweet. Cassian just domes him. And Mon is just, like, so shocked. Like, she knows that he's part of the Empire, but she's just like,
I've known this guy for, like, 2 years. Like,
she's like, this hasn't been how I've been fighting the rebellion.
Yeah.
My thing has been funding and the political part of this, so her getting wrapped up in the action and, like, the death part of it was so great. And man, just 8 and 9. Yeah. These episodes are what I've been waiting for so long with this season, and they were so great.
Yeah, 7 was great. It was a great introduction. I feel like every first chapter in, like, these chunk releases that we've been getting, it takes a while because that's to kind of, like, reintroduce us to all the characters and where they're currently at. I struggle to pick, honestly, between episode 8 and 9, which one I prefer, just because I love the tension of episode 9 of just, like, we need to extract Mon Mothma out of, after the Senate hearing, we need to get her out. And seeing Andor just Yeah, I'm a part of the rebellion, and I'm not afraid to waste someone. Like the boldness and just the violence and the viciousness that Andor is able to just boom, shoot this guy, boom, we're moving, and it's always impressive to me. Where like in the beginning chapters or chunks of this season, sometimes the splitting the show into basically 3 specific plots that show different aspects of the rebellion, it kind of would it would waver in terms of like whether it was working for me or not. I get the purpose of like we're going to show you the different sides of the rebellion, but sometimes like one plot line wouldn't be as interesting one week, or I really only like one plot line at all this entire week. At least that first week of episodes 1 through 3, I was like, wow, I really only care about one plot line here, and we're following Andor with these 2 rebel fucking fighters on this planet. I'm just like, okay, whatever. This is it. This chunk of episodes is Andor season 2 firing on all cylinders, getting amazing rebellion perspectives out of both or all 3 of the plots, and ending with K2SO booting up and him being like, could you please not point that weapon at me? Like, I'm just like, all right, we're getting home. I can't wait to see where this like wraps up, where this goes. Obviously we know where it leads to eventually with Rogue One, but now I'm just excited to see the birth and the development of Andor and K2SO and just kind of where that goes. I also Bix this entire season has been kind of like, Bix hasn't really worked for me this season. This chunk of episodes, you get more of the dynamic between Andor and Bix and just how this kind of, the rebellion weighs on their relationship. And I think Bix's final scene in this show of her leaving this recording for Andor and like, I have to leave. And you know that I have to leave because you are so fundamentally a part of this rebellion and you're going to do great things for the rebellion. And for you to do those things, I can't be here. I can't take you away from it. So it's
heartbreaking.
Yeah, I was, and like it worked on me too. I was like, fuck. Like Bix is kind of annoyed. Like Bix's storyline throughout this second season has kind of annoyed me, but right here I'm like, fuck, this hits. And I was like, I'm fully in on what she's saying. I get what she's saying, and like the sacrifice that she's making of like, hey, I'm throwing away our happy, peaceful life because you have work to do, because you matter to what's going on here, and if I'm here, I'm just gonna distract. And it was devastating. I was like, "Fuck, dude!"
It's terrible. It was so perfect, and I don't think they would do it, but I don't need to see any more of Bix in the show.
She should be gone.
And we don't need to see any like closure with her, like where she's at or whatever. But it, to just echo what you said, like that was a heartbreaking way to end episode 9, and you can even see in their conversation like the night before when he comes back,
and she's just like cold.
He's like, we'll get out of here. We can go do whatever. Like, I did my thing. I saved Mon, and we'll get out, and we'll do it. And she's like, yeah, okay, yep. And he wakes up in the morning, sees the recording, and it was just, it's heartbreaking. And it really reminded me of my favorite movie of all time, La La Land, which I think I've said before. But sacrificing some of yourself or some of your own personal feelings for somebody for the greater purpose of your partner and other people, where like you said, he's like, Cassian, you're an important part of this, like you need to be here. I know you don't want to be here, but I'm gonna make a decision for you, and you don't know where I'm going, you can't follow me, you don't know where I am, you're gonna stay here. So this is just a great batch of episodes here. I'm gonna say initially, when I heard that this season was like 3 episode arcs and they were each split up by a year, that sounded great in concept. I think it worked well for this episode, but the first half of the season is still hard to ignore. Of like, what if we just started out with like Gorman stuff here in the beginning of this season?
I think that this stuff, like, you trim the fat of some of the plots that happen in episodes 1 through 6, and you could probably condense those 6 episodes into 3, and this is the second chunk. Because I feel like there's just a lot of wasted time. I think the full first week of Cassian's story arc was like, what the fuck are we doing? Once he finally reunites with Brasa and Bix, I'm like, all right, now we got something going, and he's reeling in as like some of the worst shit's happening. I'm like, all right, I like this. But the first 2 episodes of Cassian being stuck on this fucking planet with these 2 dueling rebel battalions that are just like, I'm in charge, shut up, no one cares, you're all bad actors, stop it. This chunk, like I said, this is some of the best Star Wars since I think Return of the Jedi for me. And you get all of, especially in this chunk of Andor being like, I'm done with this shit. I'm so ready to be gone. And him being roped into going to Gorman to try and assassinate Dedra. And then he does that, but then they're like, all right, well, you need to go extract Mon Mothma. And he's like, I just got here and I need to leave again. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then he finally gets to Bix. And he's like, we can go off. And once that happens and he's like, fuck, she leaves and he's like, this is my life. And the just like wall that washes over him of him just accepting that. And then you get like kind of the grit of him like, fuck it, like whatever. Like even when they're like booting up booting up K2SO and they're like, he could have like kickback, like this could go south. And Andor's just getting up on him.
Like, turn him on. Do it.
He's like, dude, I don't even give a fuck. Just turn him on right now. And he's like, you should probably back up. Turn him on. Like, I don't care. And I'm like, oh my God.
We see how he is in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Which I've said that this season, I don't get why it's called Andor. It doesn't feel like a Cassian Andor-centered show. There are elements that really lean to him, but I'm also like, this is Mon Mothma's show at points. This is Cyril's show at points. Luthen is kind of the best supporting actor, best supporting character in all of these plot lines. But overall, seasons 1 and seasons 2 have done so much work to develop Andor into a character where I'm like, you are a certified badass in the Star Wars galaxy and in this universe, and I am so all in on this character. Whereas in Rogue One, I like you. I like all the characters in Rogue One. Yeah, they're kind of one and a half dimensional characters. Like, they die pretty quick in that movie. Like, you get one story to meet and lose these characters all at once. But they've done so much development, especially even in this 3-episode chunk where I'm like, yeah, Andor is such an awesome character. And I couldn't be more impressed with this chunk of episodes, and I'm excited to see kind of how they wrap up. Just going into the show, all the reactions were like, it's some of the best Star Wars. And I'm like, they're definitely talking about like this chunk and potentially next week's then, because this was lights out compared to the rest of the season that we've seen so far.
Yeah, can't wait to watch those next 3.
See how it wraps up.
Yeah.
Yeah. A quick movie that I watched actually maybe 2 hours ago before we started recording while I was waiting for Corey to get off work was Dogman, which came out earlier this year. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I watched it, and it was cute. Had good animation.
Is this on, what is this on streaming?
I rented it on Prime for like $5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I spent money on
You're
this.
feeling it.
Yeah. I was like kind of interested because I heard like good things. It has a pretty decent critic score, I think, on Rotten Tomatoes, like something in the 80s. I was like, you know what? All right, whatever. I'll watch this. It's something new that I haven't seen. And it's good. It reminded me of Captain Underpants, the animated movie that came out, I think, in like 2016 or 17 or whatever. It has that same style. It's kind of sweet. Like, there's some genuine, like, good, deep moments with characters. The animation's good. It's entertaining. You get a dog's head on a man's body, which I initially, within the first 5 minutes, turned to my wife and I was like, so that means it has a man's penis and a dog's head? I'm like, could you imagine a dog head growling with a man dick below? I'm like, that's scary as fuck. But, like, that's way out of context. Like, this is an animated kids family movie, but, like, that's a horror concept in any other, like, pitch meeting ever. So yeah, watch Dogman. It was a good time. I think it's great for kids and for families. It's funny. There's some good jokes for adults, and it was like surprisingly pretty touching. I really enjoyed it. So if you wanted to check it out, find it on Prime for $5.99 for a rental.
Yeah,
and I think it's worth the $5.99 rental.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I know like it's based on books, and I know a lot of kids love the books, and I think it's from the same Captain Underpants author.
Yeah, I think so too. I know.
So
it's the same exact style.
Yeah, so it seems, if it seems like your thing, or you got kids and you want to watch it, definitely check it out. Last little thing, since we didn't watch like a ton of stuff this week, kind of like other weeks, we wanted to highlight a couple, not necessarily like Mother's Day centered films, but just movies that made us think of our moms. We've kind of had a tradition the past couple of years of Mason and I bringing our moms to a movie. In 2023, that was 80 for Brady, which a movie that was just right up my alley. I'm a big Patriots fan, so
big Tom Brady fan.
Big Tom Brady fan. Seeing 4 classic Hollywood actresses go to the Patriots and Falcons Super Bowl and be an integral part of them being
why they won,
of coming back from 28-3. beating the Falcons, and it's just like a very charming and sweet movie that I know like you and I and both of our moms really enjoyed. So that was fun. Last year, 2024, we saw The Fall Guy with our moms and a couple other of like family members, and again, just like a really fun movie that's just like obviously got great stunts in there, but just like a solid action movie. I know we're still trying to figure out which movie we're going to see this year. Maybe Mission Impossible. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, just kind of a couple in the recent years that we saw and really enjoyed. But I just wanted to shout out a couple movies that when I think of like my mom and movies, it's been really fun for me, I guess, over the past couple of years. Actually, not even a couple of years, like a decade, when I really started getting into movies and introducing my mom to a lot of like Oscar-nominated stuff or smaller release things, because she'll watch a movie here and there, but she's not like, all right, I'm going to the theater every week, kind of like we do. So just like watching movies with her, and even in like 2016 when we saw La La Land, and I remember 2015 we saw The Revenant, and just some of those things, and she's like, oh, I would have never thought to see this movie. Thank you so much for introducing this to me. And that's been like a really beautiful thing. And just like kind of connecting with her on that. And like I've mentioned, I watched Sing Sing and Civil War with her over the past few weeks, and she really liked those. But some movies that my mom introduced to me when I was a kid growing up, one of them was Grease, which that movie, I've grown up watching it since I was like 10 or 11. And it's such a fun movie. Like, it holds up still. It's a really great musical. John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, one of my first crushes ever. Her coming out in like the black leather and like the cigarette she stomps out. I'm like, oh,
just
yeah,
badass.
But like the songs are great; they still hold up, and my mom just loved that movie and is just very nostalgic for her, you know, growing up watching it. And then another one for her that she loves is The Notebook, which is such a classic movie. I mean, it's everybody's seen The Notebook. I think 90% of the world has read The Notebook, probably. Yeah. Nicholas Sparks, but. She loves Ryan Gosling, and again, The Fall Guy. She was like, "Oh,
we saw that. That was kind of one of the determining factors for us seeing The Fall Guy. Was like, all right, Ryan Gosling's in it. Didn't know Jason Momoa was in that movie, but Jason Momoa was in it. Aaron Taylor Johnson's in it. I'm like, my mom's gonna have a good time with this movie.
Yeah. So grew up like watching The Notebook. I remember just like, I think it was on TV or something, or we had it on DVD, something like that. And my mom's like, "Hey, just like sit down and watch this with me." And just very like sweet memories, and not even like we said, not necessarily like Mother's Day themed movies, but just movies that I think of with our mom. I know you've got a few too that kind of resonate with you.
Yeah, my mom and my family, like, we're big like family movie night people, and whenever I wanted to go to a movie when I was a kid, my mom was always like, "Yeah, sure, I'll bring you. I don't care." And we would see anything. I lucked out with having parents that didn't give a shit what the film was rated. Or PG-13 doesn't matter. They let me watch it. And that kind of speaks to my mom taking me to see Bridesmaids in 2011 when I was 10, maybe 11 years old. And I was definitely the only guy in the theater. It was at the Buffalo Theater, which is no longer open. But we were in the very back row. And it was me and my mom and a theater full of women. And you get that opening sex scene with John Hamm and Kristen Wiig that's just so infinitely awkward. Whereas every woman in the theater is cackling, my mom included, and I'm just like, ha, 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 just sweating, like so uncomfortable. But I love that movie so much. That's consistently a movie that I always think of being like, oh, that's a me and my mom movie. A lot of my favorite like theater going experiences are with my mom. The one that like sticks out the most in my head is going to see the movie Looper in 2012 with my mom. Just because her and I were big Bruce Willis, like we were a big action movie family. Like we love Die Hard, we love really anything Bruce Willis is in. And then Looper's coming out, and I remember the trailers for that being so interesting. And I'd never seen a Rian Johnson movie, and I liked Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and the concept was so cool, and it was so stylistic. And I remember concretely going to Taco Bell I think we saw it at the Rogers Theater, so we went to Taco Bell. And we got the Doritos Locos Taco, because my mom is a slut for the Doritos Locos Tacos from Taco Bell.
God damn.
So we both got two of those, maxed them, and then we went and saw Looper, and it's still to this day one of my favorite film going experiences. One, because it was a movie that absolutely surprised me. It was a movie that my mom loved and had a great time with, and then just like that was like the start of us going to get Taco Bell and then going to a movie. We did that so much growing up. And it's something that, like, now that I've turned 25, like, and as I don't see my mom, like, weekly, I see her probably every 2 weeks, once a month, like, whenever I can. And she always, like, she'll text me just out of the blue some days when I'll be at work. And she'll be like, why'd you have to grow up? Like, why can't you just be, like, 12 and we just go to a movie and then get Taco Bell? I'm like, don't fucking say shit. Like, it's Monday at 9 a.m. Like, I'm in the thick of it.
We wish we could.
I wish I didn't have to go do adult shit and work a job. I miss you, Mom. But I love Bridesmaids, and I love Looper, and I also love Gone Girl from 2014, which is a kind of another off the beaten path movie to watch and love and relate to your mom. But me and my mom were both reading the Gone Girl book at the same time. So she finished it right before me, and then I read the last, like, 30 pages, and, like, there's also a big twist in the middle of both the movie and the book, and when it happens, it's just like, holy shit. So I got to talk to my mom all the time while we were reading the book, and then seeing the movie, and the movie is phenomenal. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And being able to read the book with my mom and then go see that movie in theaters with my mom will always just have a special place in my heart. There's a lot of movies that I definitely think back and link to my mom or equate to, like, loving movies and seeing movies with my mom. I'm very lucky to have such an amazing mom that was willing to take me to rated R movies when I was really young, or just, oh, you want to go see A Good Day to Die Hard? And then we're both walking out of the theater and she's like, that kind of fucking sucked. And I'm like, thank you. I thought it sucked too. Wow. But yeah, and I love going to see movies with Mama Sue as well. So we definitely need to try and find a couple movies in 2025 here to take them to.
Absolutely.
Something that we'll play, because, like, my mom's always like, what's showing in theaters? I'm like, Mom, I don't know what you want to go see right now. So, and, like, in 2014, me and my mom went on, like, a weekend of seeing 5 movies, like, back to back. Leave the theater, go get dinner, come back, go see another movie, and we saw, like, Nightcrawler and John Wick and The Judge and all these.
Great,
like,
year for movies.
Yeah, 2014 was an awesome year for movies. But she's like, can we, like, find a weekend where we can, like, hit out, like, 4 movies in a weekend like we did that one time? I'm like, Mom, I'd love to, but I honestly don't know what movies that are coming out that I would really sell to you or think that you would really enjoy. So yeah, I want to try and catch something with her sometime for sure this year. I try and do it as often as I can.
We'll keep this a yearly tradition. We'll find something. But also, just last point, just shout out to both of our moms, who are both boy moms.
Boy moms, yeah.
Your mom is a mother of 4 boys. Mine is a mother of 3. Mm-hmm. And, you know, just hearing us, especially you and I, just ramble about movies and, like, probably not understanding, like, half of what we were saying. Or I remember seeing The Avengers with my mom in 2012, like, right around, like, our birthdays.
Yeah.
And seeing that, and she's like, you know, she hasn't seen any of the Marvel movies, but she's like, you want to go see it? Let's go see it.
Yeah.
And then me on the way home just being like, so Thor was in 2011, and then Coulson was actually in a couple movies, and she's like, that's great, honey.
Yeah.
And then any trailers that came up before, and just be like, so The Dark Knight Rises is actually, like, the 3rd movie in the thing. She's like, that's
awesome.
So shout out to moms for dealing with both of us doing that.
Just having to listen to just the weird fucking stupid movie trivia that we're just, like, needing to get off our chest. We're like, I don't know who to tell us to. You need to hear this right now.
Yeah, and they're both just so caring and just, like, listening, and, like, you know, they may not understand everything, but they're just so, like, you care about this. It's, you know, it's tough being a mom.
Yeah.
It's tough being a mom, and we love you guys so much.
Always eager to just nod and smile, even if I'm talking about, like, right after The Dark Knight Rises, I'm like, they might do a 4th Dark Knight with Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Robin. Heard that was a rumor. And my mom's like, who the fuck? What?
I was like, okay, that's great.
I'm like, thanks for humoring me. But yeah, very lucky to have such amazing moms.
Yes, they're great. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
I love having my birthday right around Mother's Day, but also the first week of May, we're usually gifted with, like, a Marvel movie around our birthdays too. Do you have, like, a distinct favorite movie-going or movie-related experience that links to your birthday specifically, or at least this time of year?
Yeah, The Avengers definitely one, like I just mentioned, that, I mean, every kid in 2012 was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, I remember when those Comic-Con trailers came out and you just see, like, someone recorded it in, like, Hall H, and it's just, like, the weird trapezoid of, like, shaky cam of, like, holy fuck, that's Thor. Holy fuck, that's Iron Man. Oh, there's Loki. Holy shit.
Yeah. That one.
The hype of that.
Also, Infinity War is up there too. I think that was like late April or early May, but kind of around that same time where it was like, this is what everything's been building to, and the marketing was so good for that movie, and it just, we get kind of blessed with that. Like Civil War was kind of around the same time, I think. So Just really, really great May releases that we get to celebrate our birthdays and Mother's Day for.
Yeah, I remember seeing Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3 both around my birthday. And Iron Man 2 I thought was the tits. I just thought that was the sickest fucking movie. Oh, yeah. Them going, like, Iron Man and War Machine going head-to-head with Whiplash at the end, and they're just, like, fight. I was like, this is cinema. This is the coolest shit I've ever seen. And then I remember being so hyped for Iron Man 3, and I hated that movie when I saw it when I was young. And I still don't love it now. It's towards the lower echelon of, like, my Marvel ranking. I remember asking my mom, and we were seeing it with, like, all my brothers, my sister-in-law, like, a big group, and I asked my mom, like, midway through the movie, I'm like, can we fucking leave? I was like, I don't want to be here. But I have while I hated it then, looking back on that, I'm like, that's a sick memory. Like, getting to see Iron Man 3.
Weirdly nostalgic.
Yeah, weirdly nostalgic is right. But anyways, moving off of Mother's Day, again, happy Mother's Day to all those out there who take care of us and listen to us harp about movies that they don't give a shit about but are willing to smile about it anyways. Moving into the new releases that we have coming up this Friday, May 16th, we have Final Destination Bloodlines, which is kind of like the first of this summer's like throwback horror film revamps. We'll get, I Know What You Did Last Summer later on this summer, but Final Destination Bloodlines, which is actually getting pretty good reviews from what I've heard, directed by Zach Lipovsky and Adam B. Stein, who directed Freaks, which actually, I think I've seen Freaks, and I think I fucking hated it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I finished it, actually. I think I was really...
I think it was a Netflix movie, maybe? I don't know.
I think I was really sour on that movie.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. This film starring April Tellick, Tony Todd, which I believe is his final
one of the last, for sure,
or one of his last screen appearances, which is sad to say. Breck Basinger and Richard Harmon. Plagued by reoccurring violent nightmare, a college student returns home to find the one person who can break the cycle and save her family from the horrific fate that inevitably awaits them all. It's another Final Destination movie. It's going to follow the same formula. But again, I've heard good reviews, good reactions to this already. I remember when these were like still coming out when we were younger and like hearing about my older brothers going to go see these movies. And I love some of the films in this franchise. So I'll likely end up seeing this in theaters. Corey, I know you haven't seen a single Final Destination movie. So where's your anticipation at for Final Destination Bloodlines?
I'm actually really excited. This is just a franchise I've missed out on. But I'm excited. There's 5 other movies before this one, so I've heard, I've seen like the log scene from the second one.
Yeah,
I think
the second one opening.
Yeah. So just I've seen like bits and pieces and kind of know the generic concept, but I'm very excited to watch through all of them, and I'll have reviews of those next week on the show.
1, 3, and 5 I think are 1 and 5 are the best ones. 3 I'm nostalgic for. 2 and 4 are fine.
Yeah.
4 is actually kind of bad. 2's fine, but it's a franchise that doesn't really like have a lot of low points. It's if you like the first one, a lot of them follow the exact same fucking story beats and shit. Yeah. So if you're on board with it, you'll probably like all of them.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Get those reviews of you next week, and excited to see the new one. Really, the only other big release, it's a very interesting movie that's coming out. It's called Hurry Up Tomorrow. Which, if you're a fan of The Weeknd, which I am, I know you're not crazy about The Weeknd.
He's fine.
I think I really like his style of like kind of synthy 80s stuff. I'm a big fan of that.
I like his music videos more than I like his music.
Okay.
Yeah, I like his style. I was alright with his like Super Bowl halftime that he did. So like I'm kind of on board with him. I just don't love a lot of his music.
Sure.
I don't know.
Again, this is a very interesting movie because he had an album come out earlier this year called Hurry Up Tomorrow. Which I actually really dug. It's kind of that, if you like The Weeknd, you probably like the album. I liked Baptized in Fear, Cry for Me, like a couple good songs off there. But this movie is directed by Trey Edward Schultz, who did It Comes at Night and Waves. It Comes at Night, it's like, the marketing for that movie, I was like, oh, this is going to fuck.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be awesome.
This is going to be scary.
And I've come around to like that movie more, just knowing what it is now. But like going into it, I was like, that's not quite what I wanted.
Yeah, I think everyone was like kind of set up for disappointment that first watch through. Like, I think it's something you gradually come to either I like it more and more. Or it's like I'm never gonna revisit this. Yeah, I hated that.
Yeah. So I don't mind that movie. But I mean, this movie obviously stars The Weeknd, Jenna Ortega, Barry Keoghan, Riley Keough. And it's about an insomniac musician who encounters a mysterious stranger, which leads to a journey that challenges everything he knows about himself. I don't really know. Like, this obviously isn't a documentary, but it's not like it's kind of based on like maybe The Weekend.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, I don't really even know what it is, but I'm curious. I don't know that I'll see it in theaters. I'm not like a crazy Weekend fan where I'm like, I need to see this. So I'm curious about this one. I don't know. It could be interesting, or it could be like a passion project where an artist puts themselves in the lead and they're like, no, I need to do this, and then it just is like a bus fire.
Yeah, what I will say is the thing that kind of wins me over the most, aside from the cast of Jenna Ortega and Barry Keoghan, The Weeknd, I'm like, I haven't seen enough of him acting to know whether I think he's a good actor or not. I'm a big fan of Trey Edward Schultz. We both kind of just acknowledge, like, It Comes at Night didn't like fully work for us right away, but I still think it's a well-made movie. It's just not a horror movie, so when the trailer's kind of painted as such and you go in and see it, you're like, well, all right, well, it's not a horror movie at all. This isn't scary at all. It's more contemplative.
Very early A24.
Very,
and I think I was
early,
getting used to what their style was.
Yeah. But I love Waves. I fucking love that movie. And like I said, I think Trey Edward Schultz is a very capable, very like high-quality director. So the trailers haven't like won me over, and the story doesn't win me over, but the cast and the director teaming up. Also, I feel like this movie kind of came up out of nowhere. I remember when like CinemaCon was coming out, or like was going on, and some of like the news was breaking, and like trailers were dropping, and like they're showing stuff to like the exhibitionists and the theater chains and stuff like that. And I remember hearing about this movie for the first time then, which wasn't that long ago. And then I saw the trailer once, and now it's like, oh, this movie's coming out now. I'm like, holy fuck, like, it just kind of snuck up on me. So I'll likely go see this in theaters. I think I'm as excited for Final Destination Bloodlines as I am for this. Like, it's kind of a toss-up for me. Like, I know what I'm going to get with Final Destination Bloodlines. With Hurry Up Tomorrow, while it sounds kind of generic, I don't know what I'm going to get because of the team with it. So I'm intrigued. I'll likely, I think, see this in theaters. I have no idea what to expect. The trailer is pretty ominous and ambiguous, so I'm like, we'll see what happens here, whether it's good or bad. I'm still excited to see it. Moving into physical media roundup, as we did mention, it was both Corey and I's birthdays this past week, so we did do a little gift giving. Before that, I did, after rewatching The Marvels earlier today, I ordered The Marvels on 4K and Blu-ray because I really do dig that movie. As I was like moving from mine and Corey's apartment last year into living with my wife, I like kind of went through my movies and got rid of a lot of stuff. And now I've slowly, now that I have like a decent amount of space still, I've gone back and bought movies again. So The Marvels, the 4K Blu-ray, this is the second time I've purchased this movie on 4K and Blu-ray. So I'm excited to add that back to my collection because I do really enjoy this movie. And then I upgraded one of my previous purchases. I used to have the Avatar, like kind of generic standard Blu-ray release. But then they dropped a sexy 4K Blu-ray, I think coinciding with Avatar Fire and Ash. No, not Fire and Ash. Way of Water, second one. And I was like, damn, that's so cool. So I fucking splurged and bought that as an early birthday gift for me. But then Corey, for my birthday, bought me Paddington in Peru on Blu-ray, which is, I love the Paddington franchise. It's in my, I still count it as a 2025 movie, even though it is like technically 2024, but it came out in the States in 2025, so fuck it, 2025. One of my favorite movies of this past year. So he bought that for me on Blu-ray, which I'm really grateful and happy for. And he also bought me Sonic 3 on Blu-ray, which is my favorite of the Sonic franchise so far. And I think is just infinitely rewatchable. And I'm actually really excited to sit down and watch for just the visual effects alone. I think it's kind of a marvel to look at. And the combat's really cool. And it's just such a fun, good time. So I'm excited to rewatch both of these movies and add them to my collection.
Yeah. I felt very like, not weird, but just like two, like Paddington and Sonic 3.
Very child-friendly movies.
Yeah, I was like, am I buying these for like my nephew or something?
Yeah,
like,
your 25-year-old best friend.
But yeah, super happy to get those for you. You also got me a few movies for my birthday, which all three of them I'm excited for in very different ways.
I tried to diversify what I got you.
There absolutely are. The first one that I opened up was the Wallace and Gromit, the Complete Cracking Collection, which
yeah, I'm stoked for it. I haven't seen all their shorts. So.
Yeah, so it's a collection on Blu-ray of all of the short films. I know a few of them have won Oscars, so I mentioned watched Vengeance Most Foul this past year for the Oscars, and I really liked it. And so I'm excited to like watch through those. The boys, just the boys just getting up to shit. Like, that's so cool. I fucking love Wallace and Gromit. God, they're so cool. Fuck.
Stop motion is also just so sick.
Yeah, it looks great. And then on a very different track, you got me the A24 Blu-ray of Heretic, which I think surprised both of us last year. Hugh Grant was really great in that movie.
So well written.
You get a Jar Jar Binks reference in there, which is awesome. So A24 has great Blu-ray releases, so happy to have that. And then the creme de la creme.
Oh yeah.
The one that you, before I even open it, you're like, this is the one I'm most excited for you.
That's why I put it last in the box. I wrapped them all in the same box, but I wrapped them individually, and this was the last one. This was the main event.
This is a big one.
One of the best things about buying gifts for me and Corey, we're both are like the only people that we buy movies for. But I like to buy movies that I know Corey would like to have in his collection, but he's not going to buy for himself.
Yes, and same with you, where it's like they're ones that are kind of on the fringe of like, I'll get this eventually, maybe, but we just kind of do it on birthdays or Christmas or whatever. I was gifted a 4K Blu-ray and digital steelbook of Madam Web.
Fucking awesome.
Madam Web, baby. And it's actually very good artwork.
It's a sweet steelbook.
It is great artwork for a scene that is like a flash frame in the movie. Of like Dakota Johnson in the red Madam Web, like comic accurate suit that she has on for like a second in the movie. Yeah. But it's a thing where I'm like, I don't know if it's like the probable autism or whatever that I need to own every superhero movie on Blu-ray or something.
Probable autism is a banger. Put that on a shirt for you specifically.
There's something there. I don't know what it is, but it's something. And you also bought me a couple years back, either for birthday or Christmas, the Morbius 4K with the lenticular slipcover. So you've got me like a third of the Sony Spider-Man movies, and
Craven's gonna come in hot this Christmas.
Craven and Venom: The Last Dance are gonna be sweet, and Anora probably. Just those three.
Yeah. So, but I was between like. Because I was like, I want to get you something Wallace and Gromit related, so it was between, obviously, the complete collection. I went that way because I'm like, I haven't seen those, so I'm excited to see what you kind of think of those. And then I was like, between the Heretic, I always put the at the front of that. I was between Heretic, I was between Anora and the Brutalist, which I know you really like the Brutalist, and I know you really like Heretic, and I know you don't love Anora, but it's a Best Picture winner, so you're going to have to buy it eventually or get it eventually, and I'm like, well, he's not going to be excited to buy it for himself, so it's better to have someone gift it to you. Yeah. And what I did and what I'm going to continue to do is with our ballots every year, I fold it up and I put it in like the front clip of the case of the Best Picture winner. So
that's good to do.
My Oscar ballot is in my Anora criterion. So nice. I was between Heretic, Brutalist, and Anora for you, and I was like, Heretic is the one I think of those he'd probably rewatch first. So I was like, I'm gonna get him that. But then you got to get Madam Web because I'm like, that's a joke. That is a joke of a movie that it's such a fun time to watch because it's fucking wild. I think Craven might be worse. I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up. Madam Web, I'd rather rewatch.
There's not a great track record.
No,
here, there.
I'd rather rewatch Madam Web like 9 times out of 10 over Craven. Craven, I think, is just shit and just dull and fucking pointless. Madam Web, I'm like, this is shit and bad, but also hilarious.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in there.
Yeah, that's I might need to buy that steelbook for myself.
It's actually a really good looking steelbook. Yeah. Fuck yeah. So thank you again for that. Happy birthday to you once again.
Happy birthday.
It's always fun doing that, but this week we've got a big release week of stuff coming out. A couple things I know you pre-ordered already. We got Captain America: Brave New World and Black Bag. Mickey 17 is coming out. Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy. And then we've got Dune Prophecy Season 1. And then Better Man came out on 4K. I think it's a Paramount Presents release with like a cool like kind of like Velcro like poster on the slipcover. And then The Crazies came out on 4K, which I haven't seen this movie, but...
is this the 2011 Crazies, the one with like Timothy Olyphant?
Yeah, yep. Okay. So that one. And it's out on 4K, the Lionsgate Limited, which is... like Lionsgate has their own website now where you can just... Lionsgate Limited, where you can get all these like nice steelbooks with slipcovers. And they're kind of doing that exclusively more online than in stores now, but they have great releases. So... a lot of options this week, and I definitely am going to get Brave New World. I'm probably going to try and go out on Tuesday. I don't think either of us go out as much on Tuesdays as we used to, just because it's like Walmart and
Barnes and Noble, but Barnes and Noble we were paying twice the price.
Like $80 for it. So it's like I miss going to Target and Best Buy for new releases.
I miss that in high school, going before school.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I remember getting like every Star Wars or Marvel movie. I was like, I need to go get Force Awakens a lot.
Then you're just giddy the rest of your day, like, oh, fuck.
Can't wait to go home and watch it.
Like,
get the bonus features on there. Yeah, so it's great stuff. But a big release week, though. So a lot of options if you're looking to add to your physical media collection.
Yeah, I already pre-ordered Brave New World and Black Bag. I'm excited. I'll probably end up rewatching Black Bag this week because I really fucking love that movie. Mickey 17 is... I'm on the cusp of wanting to buy it. Like, I'm like, I enjoyed that movie, but it wasn't what I was expecting in terms of like how good I thought it was going to be or what it was going to say. It hit me, and I think it was a good time at the theaters, but I'm like, it didn't like rock my world or like it was on my anticipated list for this year, and I'm like, it was good.
I'll get it eventually.
Yeah. It's kind of like that. I'm like, it'll be a birthday or Christmas gift for us
probably.
in the future. Moving into movie news, we had a pretty decent week, but a lot of trailers dropped. Not only last week, but this week. This week was a kind of a gangbusters for trailer drops. We got a Conjuring: The Last Rites trailer. We got Peacemaker Season 2, Honey Don't, The Long Walk, Together, Highest to Lowest, and The Old Guard 2. Corey, of these, 7, 8 trailers that I just mentioned, which was your favorite? Which was your least? Which one are you most excited for?
Together looks really interesting. Dave Franco and Allison Brie, who are married in real life, they're in this horror movie. The poster, like, I don't know. There's something with eyes. The poster,
eyes are the testicles of the skull.
Nice.
Don't fuck with that.
The poster is like both of their eyes and like their eyelashes are intertwining, and I just there's something about that I don't like. But the trailer looks really cool. Highest to Lowest is kind of a like remake or retelling of the Akira Kurosawa movie High and Low, which I haven't seen actually, but I'm excited for a new Spike Lee movie. Denzel is always great, so that's fun. And then Peacemaker Season 2. We get first shot in the trailer. You see Isabella Merced as Hawk Girl. You see Maxwell Lord. You see Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern.
Guy
so
Gardner.
that one looks pretty fun, and like I love the first season of Peacemaker. I think it's great. Honey Don't is from Ethan Coen. I guess the Coen brothers aren't working together anymore. I don't know what happened.
Was Ethan Coen who did Driveway Dolls?
He did Driveway Dolls, which I don't hate them.
I almost watched that instead of Dogman today.
Driveway Dolls it's a fun watch, but it's got a great cast. Margaret Qualley's in there, and she's been great. The Long Walk looks super interesting. I haven't read the story. It's Stephen King, like we talked about earlier. Looks pretty good. The Old Guard 2, sequel to The Old Guard, obviously. The first one came out in COVID and was a fun time to watch because not much was coming out. And I'm like, it's a fun enough concept.
Weird nostalgia there for it.
Yeah, you got Uma Thurman in this sequel, so sure, why not? Fuck it. And then The Conjuring: Last Rites is supposedly the last Conjuring movie. The trailer looks pretty standard of Conjuring stuff, but all 3 Conjuring movies, I think, have been good. I think Annabelle Creation and Annabelle Comes Home are good, and The Nun 2 has been good.
The Nun 2 was a big surprise for me.
Surprise. So Conjuring universe has been, there's some misses in there. The first Annabelle and The Nun and Curse of La Llorona, which, like, is it part of it? I don't know. Maybe. That one's not great, but... I think Together, though, is probably the one of these that I'm most looking forward to.
Yeah, I haven't seen, what is it, Michael, I just Googled it, Michael Shanks that is making Together, but I've heard nothing but great things about this movie. I love Dave Franco. I forget if he directed the movie The Rental, but it had him and Allison Brie, and I actually really dug that movie. So I'm excited to see them do more kind of horror thriller work. I'm a big fan of The Long Walk just because we get to see Mark Hamill in a Stephen King adaptation, and the premise is kind of almost like Hunger Games-esque of like, hey, these teenagers, or like Squid Games-esque, where you get like these teenagers doing this competition. Last one to stop walking wins. Like, you walk until you die, basically. I'm like, all right, well, I'm kind of sold on that. I need to finish Peacemaker, is what I'm finding out. Also, with how much that's still going to connect to the now more current, with the David Cornsweet and this new DCU. I'm like, fuck, I need to go back and finish Peacemaker. I think I got halfway through the show. I just stopped watching it. It's not that I lost interest. I just didn't watch the next episode, and then enough time passed where I was like, if I go back to it, I'm going to need to restart it. But yeah, I'll need to go and finish Peacemaker because I really did dig that trailer, and being able to see more of Guy Gardner and Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl, which I think Peacemaker Season 2 takes place now after Superman. So it's like, all right, well, it's good to know that these characters don't die in Superman. That's awesome. Not that that was really any big concern, but I also, anything that Spike Lee is making, I'm kind of sold on. Even if it's a shitty remake of Oldboy, I'll probably see it and then hate it. But if Spike Lee is attached to something, I'm going to go see it. So I'm immediately interested in Highest to Lowest. The Conjuring Last Rites, I was like, yeah, this is the formulaic bullshit, but I don't know what it is in the Conjuring movies, but once the year and the font starts like scrolling down into the frame, I'm like, oh, this works for me. I don't know why that's such a thing to me, where I'm like, quality, boom, awesome.
Yeah.
Who's directing Last Rites? Is that?
I believe it's Michael Chavez, who did The Devil Made Me Do It and Curse of La Llorona. I believe it's, so he's kind of been like
the fill-in?
Like the new James Wan-esque person that's kind of like done a lot of the or no, he did The Nun 2 as well.
Okay, because The Nun, like I said, The Nun 2 is a surprise to me. I hated The Nun. The Nun 2 I just wanted to go see because Vera Farmiga was in it, and I was blown away by it. I was like, wow, this has like some really good, genuine tension and scares. So
yeah,
I thought the trailer was pretty standard.
Yeah, you see like the true case files of the Warrens, and like even if this movie's not great, like the Warrens have been the through line here, where Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, I'm like, I'm gonna enjoy seeing you guys like investigate another thing. So
not in like the Conjuring universe, but of like the main line, those 3 Conjuring movies that we have so far, which one's your favorite?
I'd go 1, 2, 3, but I like 1 and 2 are very close for me. I know you like 2 more than 1.
I'd be 2, 1, 3. Yeah. But and like also 3 was still really good for not being James Wan. Just I went in with lower expectations. I was kind of pleasantly surprised by how good I thought that movie was.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Into some Marvel news. The director of Thunderbolts, Jake Schreier, is being eyed to direct the new X-Men movie in the MCU, and I don't know exactly what that looks like. I don't know if we bring back the original Fox X-Men people or the reboot Fox X-Men people, or if it's a brand new cast.
I think it's gonna be a brand new cast.
Or
I think
if we do
Secret Wars is the end.
Yeah, it very well could be, or it's a merging of different people from all the different timelines. Who knows what it could be? We have no information about this movie, but Jake Schreier as the director, I think, is a great choice. You saw how well he handled a team dynamic in Thunderbolts, so I think that could be really good. I'm excited for that. And then Marvel also said that they're kind of shifting the Disney Plus strategy. There's been obviously a lot of shows that have tied into movies. They said they kind of want to move away from that, reportedly, with Vision Quest kind of being the last one to directly like impact a lot of these stories. I know we have Ironheart this year. Is there any other? Daredevil Born Again? I know season 2 is coming out next year, so we'll see how many more of these.
Wonder Man.
Wonder Man, yeah, I think that's later this year. So I know Kevin Feige kind of doesn't want this stuff to feel like homework. He just wants, and they've already kind of shifted this by putting the Marvel Television logo on some of the more recent stuff. And just kind of having these exist in their own thing. It feels like they will do more of like Moon Knight stuff, where it's like this exists in a pocket universe. Yeah. I mean, Moon Knight, I guess, could show up in
I hope he
Secret
does.
Wars. I do too.
I really actually dug that show. I loved 5 of the 6 episodes, and I really hated the last. And I was like, God damn it! Yeah, they're so close.
Yeah, I love that show. So I'm down for that. I wish they would have had that foresight from the beginning.
Yeah. And I thought that was like the initial thought of like, hey, these aren't going to be mandatory. Like, you're not going to need to see these, but these are going to be like good accents and good complements to the mainline MCU. Yeah. Not that it's going to be in an adjacent or different universe. It's just gonna like pocket stories, like kind of bottle episodes, but spread out. So it's like, okay, I kind of thought that's how it was going to go. But like even just talking about the Marvels earlier, that isn't a movie where 2 of the main characters, you need to have seen Disney Plus shows to know any of them. So it's like, Marvel used to be very good at just any movie you wanted to start on could be a good entry point into the MCU. And now it's like you need to a degree, have seen a couple of projects, know who's who, how they interact, where they're from, the backstory of certain characters to kind of be able to, all right, I know where we're going, I know where the story starts. All right, I'm on the same page as you. So I'm happy that they're kind of acknowledging that, and hopefully if they were to kind of divert and get away from using a lot of like these bigger Marvel characters, like I know that they can't ever use Spider-Man in the Disney Plus shows, but you can't really use Falcon, let's say, or someone like that. Stop using them so heavily in the Disney Plus shows so that we're getting so much development in a TV show that then when we get to a movie, we're like, well, when did this happen? It's like, oh, you don't watch the TV show. It's like, do I fucking have to watch this TV show to like this movie? Like, yeah, I'm cool with this. I'm eager to see how much of a divide. Like, I don't think it's gonna be different universes, but just how they're gonna kind of tackle that moving forward. And also Jake Schreier, I'm like, yeah, I'm sold on that with how he handled Thunderbolts. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. I think that's a great person to handle an X-Men movie. I have no idea when the fucking X-Men movie is going to happen. Yeah. Like I said, I do think it's going to be a relatively new cast. I wonder if we're just going to see Patrick Stewart die again now in the MCU. Yeah. Actually, second time in the MCU death for Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier in Secret Wars or Doomsday, whatever.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah, super exciting. Godzilla times Kong, Godzilla X Kong, whatever, the dumbest fucking titling. Godzilla times Kong, Supernova will be releasing on March 26, 2027. This will be directed by Grant Spatore, who is the director of the film I Am Mother, which came out in 2019. It was a Netflix original, and I never watched it, but I remember Corridor Crew did a visual effects artist react on specifically that movie and a lot of the effects in it, and I was like, wow, this looks awesome, and I just still have not seen it. So I might go back and rewatch that movie. Honestly, seeing this director attached to Godzilla and Kong Supernova has me more interested to see his back catalog than seeing another Godzilla times Kong movie, just because I thought Godzilla Kong New Empire was a bit much for me. That felt like I was just a handle of Tito's deep when I was stone cold sober. And not in the best way. Aside from the release news and a little bit of a teaser announcement for that Godzilla Kong movie, we did get a confirmation for The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum will be releasing on December 17th, 2027, which, 2 years, we'll have a new Lord of the Rings movie. That's kind of wild. But, Corey, if these movies came out in the same weekend, what are you seeing first? Are you seeing a new Godzilla movie, or are you going to see a new Lord of the Rings movie?
I'm seeing Gollum, baby.
Yeah.
Come on now. I'm not even like that excited for it.
No, it feels it's interesting. Isn't Andy Serkis directing this one by himself?
Yeah, he's directing it. So, cool. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so I'm always down, and like seeing him come back and do the mocap for Gollum, that's my boy. Like, Gollum. I connect with Gollum. I don't know why. I can't even explain. I can't even put it into words.
It's
why?
A little fucking tack cloth.
Yeah, his little spine poking out. I don't know. I just just loincloth and kind of riddles and stuff. I don't know. It's fun. There's fun to be had there.
Fighting with himself.
Yeah,
batting at his own shit.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, honestly, that's me. Just kind of like when you're not here. That's what I do. It's Gollum and Smeagol, but it's just like Corey and whatever the fuck else my
drunk persona is.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Godzilla times Kong : equals Supernova or whatever it is. You know what? Give me more big monkey punching big lizard punching other big monsters. That's what these movies are.
Yeah.
I love the 2014 Godzilla. I think that is actually a very, very good movie. And like the big harp on it was like, oh, you don't see Godzilla that much, but I think it's a great movie. And Kong Skull Island's fun. Godzilla versus Kong is exactly what I want. Big ape punch big lizard. Yep, that's what I want. Some of the other ones have been just more of that, just more monsters and stuff. So like, you know what? I'm down for it. I'll take more until it's too much, and it's like, where are we going? We've been to Hollow Earth and seen big.
When the fuck are we going to space with these guys?
Yeah, like they're going. Like it's a fast.
When is Big Monkey just floating around amongst the stars?
We're Godzilla on the moon. Like, yeah, get me there. Supernova, like a star, maybe at least flying a star.
Maybe they're fucking going to space.
Yeah, what is Supernova? Man? I don't know. Great.
Fuck, I'm sold if they're going to space.
Yeah, fuck them.
If Fast and the Furious can go to fucking space, then it's fucking space.
Give me moon lizards and moon monkeys. Yeah. I'm down for that shit. That'd be fun.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's great stuff. A little news on some award season stuff, which is still a ways away, but the Golden Globes announced the best podcast category, so, a couple of years, we'll be there.
No, okay.
We'll be there.
They also didn't announce any sort of parameters for what it was going to be.
So we're in, bro.
Like,
we're
is
in.
it going to be like a drama podcast? Does it have to be like a journalistic or a documentary podcast? Like, what kind of any podcast? Like, you're just going to go to Apple Podcasts and pick like the top 5 from that year and be like, all right, who's going to tell us who won? Like, the 28 people that vote on this is just going to decide.
Calling it now. Like, give us. It's 2025 right now. Give us like 2 to 3
34
years.
years.
No. Give us like 3 years. And, you know, at that next week we do plan on like maybe trying some video stuff. So once we get into that, once we get a little momentum going, you're gonna see us at the Golden Globes. We'll be drunk as shit, accepting an award,
which is common for the Golden Globes.
Yeah, which is great, and it's gonna be a great time. So just want to alert you guys now to look out for that because it's gonna be a great time. It's gonna be a party.
I think if I made it to the Golden Globes and Ricky Gervais was presenting, I think I'd cry.
Yeah, he's been the best host in recent years.
I wish that they'd bring him over for the Oscars, but they just don't have the balls to have someone that's just that fucking gritty and mean.
Calling out
just
everybody.
Asshole on stage and like, oh no, fucking laugh at what I'm saying. Oh, you don't want to laugh? Oh, you're offended? Oh, boo-hoo, go cry on your yacht. Like,
you
shut
were
the fuck
all
up.
Friends with Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, you guys all know Jeffrey. Shut up.
Yep.
In other news, this is still kind of under the rumor mill. It's a lot of people I feel like have been kind of blowing this story out of proportion. We don't have like firm confirmation on this, but there has been question as to who's going to be directing the Batman Part 2. Most people would be like, oh, well, isn't Matt Reeves just coming back to direct? Well, there's kind of been a little bit of a hiccup in that. The movie is expected, yes, to start filming in this upcoming March. But director Matt Reeves may not be returning. There was a most recent Production Weekly report, and in this latest report, there was no mention of Matt Reeves as director, which could be a potential oversight, or it could be them signaling, like, yeah, we don't really have a director right now. However, there have been kind of rumblings of ongoing personal issues or health issues or health concerns that Matt Reeves may be dealing with currently, so this might prevent him from really being involved in or being able to direct this film. And if the studio is looking to push forward without delays, then they might need to move off of him. So hasn't been confirmation. There's just been rumblings and rumors. I think it's worth talking about just because I know we both are big fans of the Batman with Robert Pattinson, and Matt Reeves is obviously kind of the overarching eye of what this Gotham looks like and what the feel of this Batman is and how grounded it is. I think his Gotham has been my favorite Gotham we've ever seen on screen, and Robert Pattinson is one of my favorite Batmans, so I'm excited to see him more. And the fact that we're likely not going to get a Batman Part 2 until 2027 when the first one came out in 2022? That's fucking insane to me.
Crazy.
Matt Reeves does kind of have he's kind of known to be working, or a slow worker, slow writer, slow creative, so you have that with it. I've been really like, fucking give this IP, give this property to someone else that can run with this. But I do value Matt Reeves' input and his overarching kind of look and representation of what he wants Gotham to be. If they have to move on to a different director, I wouldn't be worried. I wouldn't think this is the end of the world. They can get a couple of like David Fincher could direct a baller Batman movie. Not that he is the person that's going to want to take on a franchise as big as this or something like this. But I think you can look at the Penguin, the limited series. Matt Reeves was kind of like an overseer in terms of what the story can be or what that world is, but he didn't direct an episode. So that show went off without a hitch. That was an amazing show. So, Corey, how do you feel about the possibility, again, this being a rumor, of Matt Reeves not returning for Batman Part 2?
A little frustrating, for sure. I just, I at least want 2 Batman movies from Matt Reeves in this universe.
Yeah.
I would have loved a trilogy, but if we get this second part from him, I hope this isn't true. I hope he does come back for the sequel. And the length between movies sucks, but it's also more old school of how things used to be when movies weren't tracked as every step was tracked so quickly, or it's just didn't get as much attention as it did. And they're no, we're gonna take the time to make it good. And if this is a thing where he just wants to take time to write a good script and make it good, awesome. We're not going to remember that really after the movie comes out if it's fucking great or just as good as the first one. So I would love for him to stick around and do at least one more. But I want to see Robert Pattinson back as Batman because I think he's great as the character. So, very curious to see. I feel like in the next few months we're going to get more updates, especially going into like early next year, kind of
what the plan is.
The creative control, what the plan is. So, I know we're both eagerly awaiting this movie. We'll see what happens going forward here.
Yeah, and I'm if you can't get Matt Reeves back, which I harp on the delay in between part 1 and part 2 of this new Batman world, but you look back at like Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, you don't really often remember the 4-year gap between The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises.
Right.
Like, you don't really think
Nobody
about
talks
that.
about it.
Yeah, you don't. That's not something that stands out to you. So I know once we get that second one, the time that it only sucks because we're still in the waiting point of that time chunk, as opposed to like the anticipation or being able to watch the new one. I'm so eager to see where they go with this Robert Pattinson Batman and him having to establish the persona of Bruce Wayne moving forward and kind of how that is handled within this Gotham. I want Matt Reeves to be back. I am so confident with him behind the camera in terms of what he was able to bring to us with the first Batman movie and as long as we have the same production team and we can get Greg Fraser back and just have a really good cohesive look at Gotham that feels completely in line with the first one, which is asking a lot. That is a lot of if we can do this exactly the same, I will be happy. But Matt Reeves, I do think, is a fundamental aspect of that creative team, whether he's able to direct or still be on as a producer or writer. I want him in that same pitch meeting, that same room, that creative room, to be able to kind of shepherd this into hopefully, I would love to have a trilogy. I think
for sure
that is kind of what you aim for, is to have a beginning, middle, end. If we only get part 1, part 2, fine, but I'm eagerly awaiting part 2, and I'm hoping that if it is a hiccup due to health reasons or health concerns with Matt Reeves, that those are something that can be handled and he can be healthy and able to work on this, because I'm a big fan of his work, and I obviously want him to be feeling all right and being able to do something that he is passionate about. But anyways, long list of movie news there, but thank you for sitting down and having some liquor drinks with us for another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more in-depth movie reviews and news. I will likely post a review of Clown in a Cornfield likely this upcoming week. Subscribe to our podcast, leave us a comment or recommendation. Our AC is off this time, and that is very evident in the fact that I've stood up twice through this recording to air out my sweaty asshole. So if you have any more complaints, maybe we can just make this a full sweatshop and we'll just talk between the foam just to make sure that we're getting everything absorbed so the sound isn't fucking bouncing off any hard surfaces. But in the world of film, it's not just about what happens on screen, but also about who's sitting next to you in the theater.
I also forgot to mention that I tried the McCrispy strips from
to
McDonald's.
Throw this in at the very end. I literally did my sign off. You have one sentence left.
I gotta mention the McCrispy strips.
They were good.
They were really good.
Yeah, we got drunk dons after softball on Thursday, which was
in our hometown,
killer.
man. Went to our McDonald's we went to in high school. McCrispy strips. They're chicken strips at McDonald's. They're awesome, and the creamy chili sauce with them is so good.
My wife also made me feel filthy guilty
She
in
got
the
you a fat ass,
drive-thru.
bro.
She made me feel like a fat fuck.
We're going
Because we
through-
pull up, and I'm in the passenger seat, and Allie's like, all right, what does everyone want? And I'm like, I want 3 chicken sandwiches. And she's like, really? And I was like, whoa, shut the fuck up.
As the woman at the speaker can hear.
Yeah. And then Allie's like, okay, can we get 3 chicken sandwiches? And she's like, what? Can we get 3 McChickens? She's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, you didn't know what we meant?
Nah, you gotta toss some Mick on there. So the McCrispy strips were really good. The McChicken's great. You know, I mean, they ain't a bad thing at McDonald's. So I'm just putting it out there.
I've never
So-
had a Filet-O-Fish.
Oh, it's great. Well, no, I'm not gonna say it's great, but like the land, air, and sea. You get the land, air, and sea, and it's awesome.
What's the land, air, and sea?
You get a Big Mac, a McChicken, and or I guess you could do like
Any
one of their
burger.
chicken sandwich or whatever. And then you get the Filet-O-Fish, and you there's a specific way you gotta stack them on there, and the buns in between. Land, air, and sea.
I remember on like a choir trip, Austin Mackey did that, and I was like,
Crazy shout out.
level.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I love McDonald's, man. It's so good. Like, there's just, like, you can't beat it, you know?
Wrap up the fucking episode.
All right. Anyways, just want to shut up McCrispy's.
And McDonald's.
Thanks for being the sponsor of this video. McCrispy strips with creamy chili sauce. Brian Cox does some of the commercials, so Brian Cox, if you want to come on the episode sometime, feel free.
I'd be so afraid of him. I'd be so afraid of him. I think I'd cry.
Yeah, no, he's great. He's, get that paycheck, son. Anyways, for Mason and I at Slate Night, that's a wrap.
Nice.